Please do.
Let
Please
me
do.
introduce you for just few minutes. Actually, welcome everybody in this session. I welcome Dr. Manisha. She did her post graduation from Banastali in 2006. Later on, she moved in UK to pursue her PhD, and she also did her postdoc in data science and AI. When I saw her profile, I was really glad to see, and I really was actually looking forward to listen to her, and so my students as well, because Manisha, I would like to share you that they are studying these courses in their as part of their curriculum, and they are very much looking forward to your topic because but I must say that before 15 days they were like that it's a very good market for them. Now is really good market existing even post this pandemic area. What you, if you put highlights on that, or what care they should take now in this scenario as well. So over to you, Manisha. I won't take much time. Welcome.
Okay, good. So, so as ma'am has already given my introduction, so I'm Manisha, and then I had the opportunity to work with Sanjay sir in JIIT, and where I had built my actually foundation of innovation and like thinking out of the box, which helped me going like very beyond in my career. So I would start with that. And because of this pandemic and everything is going on and we are becoming more digital, so I'm very glad that I'm connected to you, to my students and to JK Institute. And I started my career in PhD in academics, and then I landed in PwC in data science and AI in machine learning. So I want you to I will be talking you about my journey and how you can benefit from my journey of transforming your career into AI and machine learning. And not only like how you can benefit, but I'll be discussing with you some problems which are actually some upcoming problems that already are there in AI, in data science and machine learning, and how you can start building up your foundation in this upcoming technologies, and how you can start taking small steps in order to achieve or in order to land your career in this area. And this is a very growing field right now, and everybody is like, it's a hot topic and everybody wants to go into this area, but it's very, very important. Like, what are the important skills that you need, how you approach these problems, and other important thing is how really you find out like what are the possible use cases in AI, in machine learning, in data science, and how you can start looking at those problems from the student perspective, and then you start building your base, and how and then once you have the base, you can easily crack interviews or like proceed in your career in this area. And I'm sure like because when I was looking at when I got this invite, so I just quickly glanced through the curriculum, and I think you are already these courses are already being taught in your classes as your elective courses. But the important thing comes is like how to take that as a practical aspect, how to implement them practically, that's more important, and how to start building that innovation thinking. So I have like kind of structured my presentation into few important points. Like first is introduction, which ma'am already gave, and then why actually we are moving towards AI or machine learning or data science, then how we actually apply AI or machine learning on the business problem, because now it's a business area and we need to solve business questions with technical aspect, that is AI, machine learning or data science, and how we solve those business problems and how we find business answers using these technology. That's very important. Then the fourth part I have included is like how to actually find these use cases, how to find these problems, because everybody wants to do it, but actually is there enough scope, is there enough work going on this, or how we can make how this technology can help. That's very important. Like what are those areas where these technologies can help, and then you have to choose between your technology areas, like what is the domain area that you find best and in which area you want to go. Then is like, what are the special skills that are required and how you can start building your profile. So I'll start with, so it's like why AI or machine learning or data science. So in order to start with, I'll share with you a small video, like which is about the technology revolution, which is being happening and how PwC is contributing to it. So let me start with it.
A revolution is underway in today's world of business. Advancement in technology is triggering radical change. Tomorrow's world will likely be characterized by the free flow of data and information. Unlike today, where the companies...
Manisha, the video is not visible at my place. I hope everybody is able to see it.
No. And even the audio is, so you got to screen share and there is a video file that needs to be activated. Maybe.
Okay.
In the screen share,
yeah,
there you would see there is an application of the video file. Do you have a video running there?
Yes.
So activate that, share that video.
Okay. Wait a minute. Okay, so for me, it says that I'm sharing.
No.
Okay, wait a minute. Yes, new share.
Maybe you can stop this
I
and
got
start video.
Yes.
I got it. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's it.
Okay, wait a minute.
Yes, it is coming now.
No, wait a minute. I need to start it again. Actually,
Okay.
it has moved to the next video.
Okay.
Wait a minute. Yeah.
A revolution is underway in today's...
Audio is feeble.
Advancement in technology is triggering radical change. Tomorrow's world will likely be characterized...
Can you see it?
Data
We can see, but the audio is not very clear.
Okay.
It is weak.
PwC...
Video is good, audio is weak.
Okay.
Adapting and growing with businesses' needs. It's built with new types of data that comes from a range of sources, flowing between different machines and people.
Yes, very good.
Now you can hear.
Analyze,
Yeah.
trade, and provide confidence in the data itself, giving everyone more insightful and reliable information. And the benefit? Better decision-making by companies, their owners, employees, customers, suppliers, even by technology itself. And that's not all. It also helps people and society in general better understand the impact of a company's decisions and hold that company to account. To ensure that your business doesn't get left behind, establish your role in this rapidly changing world and join the revolution. Be inspired and be confident in the future.
Okay, so I'll just stop the video now. So can you see my screen now?
Yes, yes.
Okay, so this was the video about like there are various data points which are existing and how the businesses can start benefiting from the data. Like we have a technology revolution. So the point comes is like when—
Have you stopped, Manisha, have you stopped your video? Your video has disappeared. Your personal video has disappeared.
Okay,
So maybe you have stopped your video
wait a minute.
at the lower bar.
Yeah. Yeah. Can you see
Yes.
now?
Yeah.
Right. Okay. Okay. Right. Sorry, I'm new to Zoom. I follow Google Meet mostly.
Yeah,
I'm on Google Meet, so it's fine. Right, so here we have like apply AI, machine learning or data science, like because as we saw in the technology revolution that there are data points which are coming, but actually what to do with this data? We are saying a lot about technology revolution, there are data points, but how to start with it? So we see here like we have multiple sources and we don't know what to do with this data. So how do we start with it? So it's about we clean and start manipulating the data. The first point is to collect from various multiple sources. Then we start cleaning and manipulating data. Then we give a structured format of visualizing that data, and we decide the best solution approach, that what could be the best approach that could be applied to that data in order to solve any particular problem. And then we try to find some insights, some patterns, and we try to approach to the business answer to our problem. So in this way, when we are looking for the AI, machine learning, data science, so it's important to understand to what particular domains it could be applied. So I have kind of structured this, this slide into some particular domain areas where we can apply AI and machine learning, and then what could be the small steps which the students at their, they can start taking in order to develop those small steps, and how they can achieve that. So it's like when we speak about infrastructure related problems. So I have another small video to show to you, like how the AI is transforming on the infrastructure related projects. And then we'll speak about like how we have used it, how I have used those things on this infrastructure related projects, how we are using AI and machine learning in these areas. So it's about, so let me, okay, so first I need to share my video, right?
It's visible.
It's visible, okay,
yeah.
Great.
Construction companies and others running large-scale infrastructure projects need to monitor their sites precisely, and investors want evidence that their interests are secure. Project managers need to supervise assets spread over large areas, as deviations from design can mean costly delays later, and indisputable documentation is needed to protect against insurance claims and litigation. PwC is combining drone technology with artificial intelligence in a trusted data environment to help clients with these security-sensitive and complex projects. We use drones to continuously survey project sites, capturing both the big picture and the smallest detail. We train computers using specialized software and deep learning techniques to correctly identify people, machinery, and materials. Automating image processing plays to the strengths of man and machine. Machines process vast volumes of data at the click of a button and can pick out detail that the human eye cannot, saving businesses an impressive 67% in time and costs. Project managers, using accurate visualization from our proprietary geospatial app, can explore and monitor their data in real time and take immediate action to address even the minutest deviation from plan before problems escalate. Drone-powered solutions.
Okay, so this was about the another infrastructure related. So I think you can see my slide now, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So it's about like we have, this is upcoming technology, and we have like, that's one example. Like we have drones, we have sensors, we are capturing data, but it's like a very broad area. Like we are capturing data, we are using sensors, but how to start using it, that's important. How to start working on it, how to start working in the real time, So it's like when you see that video, you see that various data points through sensors, through drones, we capture all the data, and then you start playing around with that data. And a lot of this data is available online. So it's up to you, like how you start thinking, how you start building problems on that. So that's one of the problems which I have shared with you, which is about, this is about the New York taxi ride data. So you have like from the sensors, you collect all the important points for the New York taxi ride, like from which location to what location the taxi is moving. And you see here that that's the Manhattan area. This is the Manhattan area of New York, where all the data points through sensors have been collected, and to what are the drop-off locations. So they start from here, but that's a very broad area it goes to. So it's going outside New York, and like that's all the drop-off locations that we see. So as a part of your data science, what is important is, because that's the visualization that we did. So visualization is a very important, very key aspect in your data science or your machine learning. When you start working on any problem, whatever data you get, the data points or anything, you start visualizing it and you see that what actually this data is showing me. And once you understand the visualization pattern of it, then you start thinking of the problems like, okay, how I can solve this problem using AI. So in this, we figured it out, the problem, like after every 30 minutes, the routes of the taxis are changing. So if we can learn from the experience of the routes which are being followed by the taxi, then how we can learn and how we can predict like what would happen in the next 30 minutes, what would be the next drop-off location of the taxi. That's the problem we came up with. And then what's the benefit that it would give to the businesses? Like, for example, it could be used by the Uber, and like Uber could use it and they could figure it out. Okay, these are my actual routes every day. And if I learn from it, and then I could see that what could be my next route in the next 30 minutes. And if there are any traffics or any which have been faced, so they can overcome those problems. So that's how we proceeded with this. This is a very, this is a short example that I'm trying to show you. So you see here from the pickup locations that these are the locations, because we are looking at only the 30-minute window, because here in the previous slide, we were looking at everything. So we just looked at only the 30-minute window, like what are the pickup locations? And in the green, we see that, okay, what are your drop-off location? And then you start applying AI, you keep learning from the routes if they are being changed. You also look at like if the routes are changing. So we also look at like the drift, like if the routes keep changing. So you see the entire pattern, what is happening. Then you apply some machine learning or learn from your data and you predict the next route, which would come up in the next 30 minutes. What are the possible routes that would come up? And here you see in the 30 minutes, like, okay, what could be the routes that the AI could predict in the next 30 minutes, or the most frequent routes. Then as you start working on this problem, the more problems would come, like what could be the best possible shortest route in the next 30 minutes. That could be one of the problem. So this is about like how you collect from the information from the sensors. So I do another example on the basis of the sensor information. This was the another project that we did. So this is about like for example, now this pandemic is happening, or there was a disaster, there was some like the flood happened in UK around 7-8 years back. And because of the flood in the north of England, it was like there was severe disasters in the north of England. So what was, so there was a project which was going on, and we wanted to see from the sensor data. So we had a software from which we could collect all the information of the sensors or the data points, like what are the buildings, what are the buildings in the Newcastle, like in the north of England, and in what all areas the flood has, like the water has flown, and what were the badly affected areas. So here we have this disaster problem, but the question is, how do we solve it using the new technology? So the problem here comes is how we can predict the impact of change, if any building is changed over the years, or if there is any new construction, or there are any new roads which have been built up. How we can predict the impact of change in the buildings on the floods, where we see if we change something, if we modify something, then how the flood would be affected in that area if the flood comes again, and how do we prepare ourselves. So that was the outline of the project. And when we start building it, so there were multiple things which were used. So first of all, we used the sensor data, which was captured through one of the software which was called a CityCat. We captured all the data points. Then we started building our machine learning algorithm on that. Then we looked at the flood, what is the depth and velocity. And we learned from the change in the input, like how the data points are changing if the building is changed. And then we predicted the change in the flood, like where the flood would have flown. So if we look at this plot, so this was how the buildings were being visualized. So this is all the buildings, and here this, because we changed the data points and we see that what could be the impact of change. So we could see here that this was red, and when we zoomed out in our software, we could see if any of the change in the building, this was the flood, and it was flowing, means these could be the badly affected areas. That's what it was predicting. And when we actually seen on the buildings that where is it, what is that area which is being affected, so we figured it out. It was just at the back of our building, so that area could be affected. So that's how, means on the infrastructure related, like how we can start thinking of those projects. So as I would speak to the beta for the final year student, like how they can start contributing to these big projects. So it's like there's a lot of data which is available online of the sensor-based information or on the data points, and there's a lot of information available. So you can start building your own algorithm using some scripting language and see that what actually you are getting, what you can contribute, how you can develop a script to see the predictive impact of change. And this was all done in Python scripting. So there were like multiple softwares which were used. You extract the data points, then you use Python scripting to understand like how you are learning from the change in the buildings, to predict the output. Then that output file was transformed into another software, which was an ArcGIS software where the visualization was done. So scripting, then you visualize, and collection. So these are important things. And this just requires a bit of guidance, and it's not very difficult to achieve. So, yeah. Any questions up till now from any student or anything? Okay, so now I would like to move from data science, how to collect the data points, to another set of problems that we could solve using these AI or machine learning which is actually for using natural language processing. So what's the basic workflow model? Because we have really transformed. We started with data science actually when this technology revolution was coming. We started with data science, we collected data points, then this big data thing came. Then we moved to machine learning, but now the world is going towards AI. It's more AI driven. And what actually is AI? Because I think most of you already know that how the human intelligence process could be automated. That's AI, how we automate that. And it's again, now we use the various things, like we use the training data, we run various classification algorithms, and in the classification algorithm, there comes the machine learning. Then we use advanced algorithms, which are like deep learning algorithms. We do natural language processing. We identify hidden patterns in the data. You use trained data, you apply these algorithms, identify patterns, run it on test data, you get some results, then you run another algorithm, again follow the same process, apply it on test data, and again see what is the accuracy. Then you start comparing various algorithms, and you come to a conclusion like, okay, which is the algorithm which is working best for me in order to solve my problem. You compare the accuracy of the various models, and hence you achieve to answer to your best solution. So as a PwC, I have been working in AI data science, but my focus is mostly on audit, like how to transform audit and how to bring innovation in audit, or how we can use AI in audit. So that's another very challenging area. And now comes like what actually this could bring to us. This is another set of problem. Like I discussed about infrastructure related problems. Now I'll be discussing about like how we can transform another area, which is the finance sector. So how we can work towards it. So there are different areas that could be worked on using AI or machine learning. So what are the key AI value drivers? Like now, now we think of like in audit, when we are thinking of another problem, like in the finance sector, like what actually it brings about, how we can benefit. So the first thing is we benefit using automation. If we can automate the audit, I have seen people in audit, they work days and nights. They sit whole nights in the banks during the audit season, and they don't go home. They are going home for 2 hours, for 3 hours, or they don't have proper sleep. So if we have automation in finance sector, we can save a lot of time, and people don't have to stay for long hours. And actually we have seen this benefit coming with the help of automation. People used to struggle a lot, and now with the help of when we have started automating things for them, people are more relaxed, businesses are more relaxed, they see efficiency. It's like the cost has reduced, and now they can negotiate better with the client, like, okay, the cost has reduced and we provide you the audit at the lower cost now. So that's the efficiency that we are trying to bring. And the other part is like insight, like on the basis of the data, what we see from, like we have lots of data, and we can bring out some insights like what your data is showing, what is your patterns that are coming up. So that's on the finance sector. And I understand, like as soon as the students hear about like finance sector or anything, like everybody has an ambition to be either in London or in New York to work in finance sector. And as the guidance that I would like to give is, like, in India is the hub of technology. Here, the most of the technology is implemented in India. And even these places, they look at India to help them, to support them in technology. And this is the generation, like this is the generation which is actually, they can bring so much of change in this upcoming world. And now, like, because of changing things, like everything would be automated, everything would be, they would come at like, okay, we need to do everything at low cost. We want to bring efficiency. And that's how we, as a technology hub, we can contribute. So I'll share with you another video of like AI, which is used in audit. Like that's one of the tool that as a PwC we have developed in order to automate the cash reconciliations. I won't go into a lot of details of audit language, because in audit we check a lot of things. So for example, this video is about, we receive invoices, like for example, the various bills, everything, and you submit your invoices, for example, in your firm whenever you travel anywhere, and then those invoices go into your finance with your finance team. So we, as a part of audit, we check, like when you have submitted all your bills, all your reimbursement, that whether they reconcile with your accounting transaction, means whatever has been posted in your accounting system, we check that whether all the invoices are rolling up into your accounting transaction. So it's a cumbersome process, because we look at all the invoices, bills. So for that, because this is a part of audit, everybody has to do it. So there is a tool which has been developed, which is a cash.ai. So I will show you. What is cash.ai like? So this was about like how AI is transforming audit. So you see, you receive lots of invoices, you pick up the invoices numbers, you pick up the cash balances, you check at the general ledger level, because that's something audit language, like you check at the accounting transactions, like if it is what the amounts have been captured in the invoices, that's actually what is in their accounting transaction. So this was one example. And now, like this was a big scale project, but I would like to discuss like something more on like how it is transforming, how AI is transforming, and some of the more examples on it. So these examples that I'm discussing with you, they are all finance related, like whatever, how the finance market is changing. So I would like to know if you have any questions, because I'm happy to answer questions in the meanwhile. If you have any questions.
Manisha, there was a projection of the World Economic Forum report of 2015, if I recall correctly, that by 2025, 30% of the audit job would be done by AI.
Yes.
Are we already ahead of that target, or we are close to that, or what is your view on that now?
Yes, that's a very good question. Actually, we are towards that. We are getting there, like the 30% of the target. But AI, it doesn't come on its own, or I shouldn't say it is not a standalone thing. Like the example that I showed you, it's about intelligent automation along with AI. So if I say that if I just say that AI will transform anything, yes, it would, but along with intelligent automation. So we need to automate, and then we add AI on it, like we learn and we keep improving.
So in your auditing work, what percentage of the auditing job is done by machine? Intelligent automation, AI, all put together?
Actually, we are almost 40 to 50%.
So you are ahead of the target then?
Yes, we are.
Not close.
Yeah. So we have transformed. So like our team, which is Digital Audit Advanced Analytics, so whatever the manual tasks are, like we have kind of transformed a lot of manual tasks into automated work. And like they were sitting like days and night, and like we take off a lot of their burden, like as a part. And it is actually PwC London is quite ahead of other big fours right now in advanced analytics. So it's a good place to be at this point. And recently they have, because of seeing the progress, what they have done is they have made a entirely separate team, which is called digital audit. So which is digitizing audit. They are working towards it, and because there was so much progress and the profit is coming in, so that's why there is we have a separate team with our leader Mark Benna, and it's going well, which is good to know. Okay. So I would add some other things on it, like in automation, we not only say intelligent automation, there are various ways of doing it. It's not only using AI or machine learning, it is like RPA plays a very important role. That's quite important. Like we have confirmations bot, like we keep receiving confirmation. That's a manual process of ticking. So RPA just automates everything. And it means for the students, like UiPath, that's the tool which means I can keep on talking about it. So UiPath is a tool which is very easily available, and you can just automate everything. Like
so you will be happy to know we teach RPA as well as machine learning here.
Yes, which is good.
Yeah.
I was actually already, I already had in mind, because if Sanjay sir is there, so RP and AI, this would be there. So I was already thinking about it. So they would be quite ahead. So yeah. Okay. So I would come to, because there are like other examples also in audit. I can discuss more in detail, but we need to see the time also. So we have like incident change that we recently developed. So this is a very common problem. You'd see that the IT tickets are being raised in each and every mobile companies and everything. And we audit that, like IT tickets which being raised. And if there is any changes in the if any change happens in overall in any of the system, so the incident ticket is sometimes it leads to an incident, and that incident ticket is raised like, okay, there is some incident which has happened. So we kind of solved it using AI, like if there are multiple changes which are happening and how do we learn from it, like if some of the changes have led to incidents, how do we learn from those changes which has led to incidents and which could lead to potential incidents in future. And this has helped them in flagging all those incidents, like which could be the potential incidents in future, and they can rectify and resolve them before happening those incidents. So that's the problem that we have tried to solve it using incident change AI. So Ms. I can go into detail but I'll give you the brief outline of like what is the problem. Then there is about the fraud transactions. There's like, I think there is always a problem in audit. Like there are fraud transactions which are happening, and how do we find out that there are some fraud transactions or there are anomalies which are happening? So that's another problem that we try to solve it using deep learning methods. So I'm sure you must be, because you must have that in your course, like deep learning methods or reinforcement learning. And then how to use them is like, for students, they can use it using TensorFlow, using Keras package in Python, and then you can have it on your visualization using Power BI. And I think some of the students are quite techy and they already start developing these things, like using TensorFlow, using Keras, like how do I use deep learning? But they have to be given like the right problem on which they can start working on so that they achieve something useful, and then they can show it in their CVs. I mean, that's how I landed into my journey. Like they can have some problems as a final year projects, like, okay, if this is the data which is available online, there are lots of websites, and you see, okay, that's the accounting transactions which are happening, and if I could predict, I could find out fraud transactions, because if you implement deep learning model, so there is auto encoder in there which you can switch on and off. If you want supervised learning, you can do supervised learning if already the learning data is present. If you turn it off, then it performs unsupervised learning. That's the benefit of deep learning method. And then in the unsupervised learning, even if the learning data is not present, because that's the problem which a lot of time students face when they want to implement something new or to do some AI machine learning project, that we don't have learning data set, we don't have a lot of data set. So in that case, you can just switch off your autoencoder in your deep learning model and try to do some unsupervised learning and try to understand the patterns in the data. And if there is any unusual pattern which is happening, which is not as similar to your normal pattern, that means there is some anomaly. And then you can go into details of it, like, and apply some human judgment or do validation that what we are getting using AI, whether it's validated, if we look through human eye, is how we can verify it. So here, for example, in this snapshot, you can see that these are the points, like the red points, these black points, they are coming as anomalies. There is a sudden spike in the data. Like in some of the cases, a lot of unusual amount has been posted, or there are some postings which are happening on weekend, or there are some, even if there are any data quality issues, like if any missing data or anything, so it can show, okay, using deep learning, or if there is any sudden spike in the data, like sudden unusual amount or unusual approver, or somebody is approving it, so it can throw the exceptions. So it's about throwing exceptions, unusual behavior. That's one of the problems which has been, which we have tried to solve using AI. I have other problems also using natural language processing, and I have like more problems on natural language processing using AI, which are more related to research problems, as I already discussed with Sonal ma'am. Like if you want to go into details of like natural language processing problems and how we can solve them using AI, there are lots of problems that I have worked on, which I can discuss in detail. So this was about finance sector. So like some of them are really interested in doing infrastructure related projects that really fascinate. Some of them want to make their career in finance sector. Then if you want to make your career in finance sector, what kind of problems you can start looking at and you can start looking to solve, or you can bring it into your project. The other sector is like, there are two more, but I will cover this one as well, which is retail. That's another problem, the business problem, which is going on, and a lot of people, a lot of businesses and a lot of firms are trying to solve this business problems using AI. So for example, there was a problem in the shoes company, like in the Adidas. I've worked on, like in my past, I worked on one of the problems for shoes, like how do we find out the optimal price for the shoes so that when we sell them in bulk, we make maximum profit. So that was the problem, that how I should select my price for the shoes so that I make profit also. It's not that you just make them expensive and this will bring you profit. It will not, because maybe then the sale is not huge. You might end up in not selling your shoes. Okay, so it's like how you decide like what should be the optimal price for my shoes so that I increase the sales and I make a lot of profit and my company also doesn't suffer any loss. So that was the AI problem, or the data science problem, I should say. It was more a data science problem in the retail sector. So these are the kind of things that we are trying to solve using AI or machine learning. So when you start working on it, you see that that's the problem I've written, and then how do you approach to this problem? There could be multiple ways of approaching any problem, but sometimes it may happen a simple algorithm might give you the results which even the complex like deep learning algorithm might not give you those good results. So it depends like which kind of approach that we need to follow, which model we need to follow. And in this case, when we worked on, we realized that the regression model came out to be as the best, which is a very simple model, like the regression. So what we did here is we just collected data because they have like the data in the various points, like in PHP database or affiliate network. So we applied normal linear regression. So we took the sales, and we have seen like what are the key factors, what are actually affecting your sales with the regression model. And when you find out, okay, these are my key factors, these are my attributes which are really affecting my sales, and then you just implement and predict the best optimal price using those key factors. That's how we kind of approach to this problem. And then when you give that algorithm, then there is a software team which actually implements into their system, like, okay, these are the factors. You calculate the cost using linear regression model, you compare it with your sales cost, and you see the profit. That's how you solve. That's the mathematics that we applied. We applied that in the programming, and then it was gone into the software team, and they implemented everything into their main software system. And that's how we started predicting, okay, that's the price, that's the optimal price which is coming up. And now this kind of solution could be applied to multiple things. It's not only the shoes company. It could be your clothes, it could be your accessories, it could be applied to multiple retail sector. So that was one of the thing. And the other thing was like personalized offerings. That's another retail problem. Or so here it is like, how do we understand from the customer behavior? So for example, I've shown you an example like, okay, this is a guy called Chris, and he always likes cappuccino coffee. Then how do we know that always he'll come for a cappuccino coffee? So that's the example on the retail. So for example, like Amazon, I'll take an example of Amazon. So you see in the Amazon, when you start buying something, it starts suggesting you the products. Like these are the best possible products that you may also buy. It shows you all those suggested lists. So now what companies are doing, because if you just look into those suggestions, like the Amazon that you see, that's not really using any machine learning or AI, because it just goes through your search engines. It looks for your products, and then it starts saying, okay, because you have clicked on these products, so maybe you will look at this also. But now there are a lot of recommendation engines and then personalized offerings which have been implemented in these like websites and the retail market. And so here we understand the hidden pattern in the customer behavior. We extract the data points, and then from the data points, from the customer behavior, we collect a lot of like personal data. There are different types of data in that. So there is a personal data, then there is an attribute-based data. And then you understand create the personas of the customer, like what are the customers which are behaving similarly. And then you put them into clusters, like, okay, based on these attribute factors, how you can put them into various clusters, that this is the similar user behavior of your customers. And if any new thing comes up, you put that in that particular cluster. Okay, because of this request, he might go into this particular cluster and he might look for this set of things, or these set of products. So this could be used in multiple ways. So here in this case, what we have used is like we have created the personas using product purchases, like what is the purchase history, using a purchase history data from the retail sector and the customer data. And then we use some clustering algorithm like the machine learning algorithms like k-nearest neighbor, build up the clusters using that. And when any new request was coming, so we just match by the cluster that to what possible cluster it should go. And then we try to identify, okay, that these are the hidden patterns and how the targeted products for that particular customer could be highlighted, or how we can target products and how we can increase the purchases and how we can target our customers. So these are like some of the problems that AI machine learning is trying to solve. So what are the key skills that you would require? So I've like covered infrastructure related projects, some audit related projects. There are quite a lot of audit related projects. It means there would be a separate lecture on it if I just start taking that. So just I have divided into 3 separate domains. And then the third one is the retail one, like how you can start thinking of to build problems and solutions in the retail side, and how you can start thinking of the projects in that area where students can start working on such projects so that they can add it into their CV, and it will give attraction to the market. So the other thing is like, what are the key skills which are required? The first and the foremost and important one is programming. Programming is very, very important, in which you require Python programming, you require R skills, you require some database skills, like when you collect the data points, like it could be SQL, it could be, so it depends on what is the database in the firm that you are working on. It could be a Hive database, it could be your Hadoop database, or whatever the database, or your Elasticsearch database. So you need to know how to query the database and how to extract information. And visualization, that's another very important thing. I'm sure like you have already started working on it, but it's good that if you can just start practicing more and more on visualization, because like Power BI, Tableau is there. And then previously it was ClickSense was there. ClickView is another tool for visualization, which are easily available tools. And like you can start playing around them, and then you can make interactive visualization as well. So I've seen people who have quite excelled, because like I'm leading a team of I lead a team of AI in which I get graduates every year. Like every year I get like 3 or 4 graduates, and I've seen those graduates, they are really excelling in visualization. They are making fantastic visualizations like 3D visualization or using Power BI, some Python scripts. There are different packages for it. So that's another very important field. So you need combination of technical skills. Then the other important skill which you require is problem solving. Problem solving is important. Like, as I have discussed with you, I have given examples, like we need to start thinking of like what are the problems that we are trying to solve and how these technologies would bring benefit. Because the challenge that we face most of the time is, like you say, okay, you're using fantastic technology, but what is the benefit to me? How you can prove beneficial? That's the important thing. So if you can answer those business questions using this technology, and how do you, the other important point I have written is translation of technical answers to business answers. Like how you make those technical concepts into business answers. Like what are you trying to solve? That's important. Business knowledge is important. Like in whatever domain or area that you are trying to excel, whatever companies that you are targeting, before sitting with them, before going for the interview, it's always important to understand business model for it. So that's very important thing. And then there is innovative thinking and the communication. How do you communicate? And the last thing comes is innovative thinking. Like you need to be really innovative in your thinking, in solving problems. So that's the combination of key skills which is required in this area. So, sorry, I'm getting my messages from my boss here.
Okay. We thought somebody is intruding.
No. So, yeah. So we just got approval for one of the projects. So he's just.
Congratulations.
So he just.
Any good business news in these times is very good.
Yeah. Yeah. So, okay. And then like you can start following certain certification courses. Like there are a lot of courses available on Coursera, Udemy, and there are other courses as well. And I think you should start learning on your own. Like, and then there are some courses on like PwC analytics also. Then important to understand the business side also of it, not only technical. So it's good to know what is like data analytics business, how you are relating to it. So that's kind of things that you can start off. So that's all from me. I think I'm happy to answer student questions as well if they have and they want to know anything more in detail, because we could go more into detail of all these projects, but it's like we have time constraint and I wanted to cover a few important key points and few domain areas of these problems.
Manisha, students are typing questions in a chat window. Please have a look at it.
Okay. Wait a minute.
Shall I recite it for you all?
Yeah, I think that would be better.
Okay. What kind of roles do industry offer to entry-level positions? It is said that companies are looking for PhD holders and freshers are given mostly data engineering jobs. What is your like say on it?
So they want to know like the PhD, like PhD students are given more opportunities, or PhD students are given data engineering jobs. Do they think that? See, data engineering is required in this area, but that's only a subset of it. If you see the overall picture, data engineering is a small part, because as you see the collection of data points. So when we work on collection of data points, there comes your data engineering. It is a much broader.
But our PhDs are mostly preferred in the area of AI and data science, and BTech graduates are not.
No, that's not the case. I don't think so. It's not at all, because these days, it's more required, like programmers are required, proper programmers are required. So it's like, and we are hiring graduates, and what we look into our graduates are, we look for the skills. Like these days it has completely transformed. Like if you look for the PhDs or anything, in a firm you will have a 1 or maximum 2 PhD holder, but you will have a lot of graduates who are working with them, which are actually good in programming and these skills, and then these graduates grow with time. That's how the structure or the model of the firms is working. So if you have in your mind that you need to do PhD to enter into this field,
or they look for projects.
Yeah. Sorry, ma'am, can you repeat?
Do companies give importance to online certifications, or they look for more actually projects in their?
They look for online certification, but when they hire for such companies, they do look for online certification, but they also look for, I would suggest that you should build your profile with some key projects, what you have already done. This opens a wider chance. And then it's like you have a trust that, okay, if such project is being done, then you can do some similar projects also. Because when in our team we are hiring, we not only see we see the skills and whether the graduate has that capability to learn. That's more important. If they have that capability to learn and proceed. So
okay.
yeah. I think now I can see the questions. Okay.
Can you see there are a few questions over there?
I can see. Okay. Okay, as a beginner, what should be my first step towards the AI and machine learning, and how it will help me to get a placement in good companies? So as a beginner, I would say that go to the sites like Kaggle if you have already started going. Good, because that's how I started my career. Like I went to the Kaggle, and I have seen like there are lots of repositories for data. I have not covered one of the topic, which is healthcare, actually in which my PhD was. So you will see a lot of healthcare data on these websites, and you start playing around with this data and start building, because if you go to the Kaggle, the good point is you already see that what kind of, they keep posting problems, data science problem, and there is a competition for it. So you start practicing on those problems, and then they post answers also. That's how you keep learning. And you start developing few projects. And if you have solved one of the project, you can just add it to your CV that I've solved this project using this, and I've worked on this data set. So this will open, like, for example, you can excel in healthcare field. So if you keep working on healthcare data set, almost it's similar for most of the problems. And then you can just land up your career in healthcare industry. That's one example. I've given you other like retail examples also. So, but it depends like what information is available on what kind of projects they are posting. And then in your final year project, you can add, like you can start working in your final year project on these areas. And you can add it to your CV that you have worked on this AI machine learning project. Okay, let me see the other question. Can networks be a field where we can apply data science to make it more reliable and safe? So if you see networks, so I really don't understand what is network. So there are two things I understand. So one is networking. If you are talking of like IT systems and network. So yes, you can apply. I shared an example with you, which was an incident and change AI, which was actually on the IT system, solely on the IT systems. So IT system, you keep request, you raise request, and then if the incidents happen, there are issues, it goes to the database team or any other team, you solve those issues. So that's the problem that we have tried to solve using incident change.ai. So it could be applied. There are some other problems also, bigger problems also that could be solved. There are bigger teams which are sitting in the IT systems. Like the whole architecture could be implemented using machine learning, like how how you can raise the request, how you can solve those requests. So there is a lot of work happening in IT systems using AI. About reliable and safe, there is a lot of work going on in AI right now on all these governance related issues. How we can trust it, how we can be more responsible, how we can answer those questions. So there is a lot of work going on, and there could be a separate session on that, like how we can explain AI. So once we know how we can explain it, so we can build more trust, and we are progressing towards it, like how to build trust in AI, that what decisions that we are getting, whether it's correct or not. In general, Kunal has, in general, ma'am, among autonomous and non-autonomous AI projects, which projects have greater potential and reliability? Okay, in early stage, it is easy to rely on autonomous AI implementation. Yes, that's correct. In early stages, we should rely on intelligent automation plus AI. We should rely on it. We should not go on like directly on it, because if the scope has to be increased, we have to work on intelligent automation. Can we use in the field of cybersecurity to drive a better solution for the company? Sorry? Yeah.
I think same kind of questions are reappearing again and again. So let me actually get in between. One question from my side: if these students actually are pursuing on certain projects related to machine learning, and if they feel that they want to get it evaluated, that is how much actually when they are using certain actually standard mechanisms like accuracy or maybe log loss or etc., which are prescribed in the literature. But then if they want to ascertain what are the ways which you would suggest to them, how do they evaluate it?
There are,
for example, personalization, and they're saying that they're giving good recommendations.
Yeah, I got your question, because this is a very common problem that here also we suffer. Like, we get something from AI, and how do you validate it? So there are three things which come into picture. First thing is using various AI algorithms, like you compare the accuracy from the various models. That's the first thing. Like, which model is giving you the best accuracy. Then comes validation, like whatever the model is giving. Okay, I say that this model gives me better accuracy, but how do I validate, even if this is my best model, how do I validate it that this is correct or not, whatever I have been getting? So what we have been doing here is we select the samples that what we get from the AI. Okay, we select the samples and then we apply it on like 300,000 of records, and then we come up with we test using AI, and then we say that, okay, 16 samples we pick up, and these 16 samples we test, like, okay, this is what my AI is given, and if I apply human judgment, then what is I suggest by the human judgment, and that's how I validate. That's one way of, second way of doing it. I'll tell you one more way. Third way is you give the probability or the threshold of your validation. For example, if you are classifying something, you give like 80%, you give a threshold, that's the probability, that 80% that it should belong to this classification, 70% it should belong to this classification. And if it is 90%, means if I give the probability, 90% it should belong to this classification. Then it gives you a range of threshold on which you can play around and check like which is giving me best, and then you can achieve the best possible threshold. That's how we have been validating. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, yes.
Okay.
So over to you, Sanjay sir.
Trust is the main thing. You already raised that issue, Manisha.
Yeah.
How to develop that, or the bringing trust into the AI results, that or explanation. Even more than trust is the explanation.
Exactly.
You know, it just gives a result, and if it can't explain, just applying some machine learning algorithm which cannot be explained how you arrived at it. So the good difference in AI and natural intelligence is natural intelligence can explain the reasoning. You know, whenever we take a decision, we can defend that decision with the argument, with the data, with the logic. AI has to move to that level that it can explain the reasoning, and once it is able to explain, then people will trust it. Otherwise, it is a black box that, you know, leaving it to some consultant or AI bot who tells me invest in this company or that company, or take this medicine or that medicine, unless it is able to explain. So that explanation part is the key thing. Are you working on that aspect also?
So we have, that's the very ongoing thing which is going on right now. And my next project is, which I'm already started working on, is on explainable AI.
Yeah.
Explainable AI, and the second thing is responsible AI. These are two things that which we are working on. And I can share some links with you, sir. Like there are some, there are already some projects which have been happening, and there are some tools which are available on actually working on explainable AI and how they are going forward towards it. Like, for example, you pick up the key attributes, and they are what key attributes in helping you to predict or to learn on which you are learning. And then they look at those key attributes, and then they say that, okay, that these are the key attributes that we have been looking at, and they are helping me to give the answer or to predict or to classify. That's how we are proceeding towards explainable AI. Like there are three, this is one aspect. There are multiple aspects on it, on which we are looking at. Validation or sampling, that's another aspect, because we check for the validation also. Like what is AI giving and how do we validate it? That's the second aspect that we are looking at. When all these things come together and multiple things, then we start building the trust, the explanation. That's how it is going forward. So yeah, that's the key thing that we are looking at now, because since we have developed lots of projects, now it's more about how to explain them. Right?
Yeah.
Anything else?
Yeah.
So I would like to thank Manisha for actually giving us such a wonderful session and being so generous and like sparing your time for us 1 hour. And I would seek your support later on as well. I would seek support in two cases. One is I would like to get certain topics on which students can further work upon or try their hands upon.
Yes.
And one more thing is that actually we are also looking for certain key points wherein actually PhD theses can be actually benchmarked. If they say that if this work has been done by them. So I look forward for it, and I would actually interact with you through WhatsApp or through emails.
You are most welcome, ma'am. And I didn't touch upon any research topics in AI, because that's another separate area. Like it's a very big area, and I have lots of like natural language processing research topics which are going on. So we can discuss it some other time, or I can share with you. Or I can share with sir also. So it's like a research, it's a big area on which research is going on, right? And this was only for BTech students, right?
Yes. So thank you very much, Manisha. Thank you very much. Wonderful.
All right, thank you so much.
Yeah. Great having you here.
Yeah, great.
One more question came.
Okay.
One last question.
Okay.
Another Banastali co-alumnus, huh?
Okay, let me, sorry.
Yeah, Kavita is again actually Banastali alumnus. I think her focus is more.
Actually, Kunal Shah written one more.
Which is very prone to neural network. So she's saying that making our own. Actually, I didn't really get her question. So what she's trying to ask, she's asking like making our own machine learning system. Yes, you can make your own machine learning system. For example, you can combine various algorithms, which is like you can build your hybrid algorithms, which have been successful in the past.
Actually, he is looking towards few resources.
Okay.
He's looking towards few resources to work upon it.
Okay, great. I can share. I have like neural networks. We are working on it. So if you want something on neural network resources. Yeah. Okay, great. Thank you, everyone. And I'm happy to help. And I like guiding students. I have worked in academics for a long time. And I'm really, I want to help my Indian students and how I can help them in guiding their career. So that's my pleasure. And thanks, Sanjay sir, for giving me this opportunity. Thank you,
wonderful.
everyone.
Wonderful having you. Wonderful having you.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah.
Bye-bye. My boss is pinging me, so I need to go back.
Take care of your boss. Take care of your boss.
You are the host of the meeting, please. And you can.
Yeah. Good.
Okay. Okay. Bye.
आपके एग्जांपल्स थे लीनियर रिग्रेशन, स्टैटिस्टिक्स है?
मैं दूसरी
म्यूट
क्लास
करो।
क्या करता था? हाँ?
क्या?
दूसरी क्लास में
रिग्रेशन
क्या करता था?
क्या?
अब आप बता देना क्या क्या यूज किया था?
आप नहीं थे शुरू में?
अरे शुरू में नहीं आया ना, मैं थोड़ा लेट हो गया।
कुछ नहीं होता, एग्जांपल बताते, बट स्टैटिस्टिक्स तो वाइडली यूज हो ही रहा है इन सब में।
हाँ, स्टैटिस्टिक्स वाइडली यूज हो ही रहा है।
पढ़ाओ फिर से।
हाँ?
ये स्टूडेंट्स अभी भी ऑन है, प्रज्वल है, परीक्षित है, प्रवेश है, मनन है। बोलो सर को फिर से स्टैटिस्टिक्स पढ़ा है। देखो कुछ स्टूडेंट्स और अनम्यूट करो लोगों। शुभम, लोकेश, ऋतिका, हितेश, सब लोग सर को बोलो स्टैटिस्टिक्स। घेरो इनको, आज पकड़ लिया देखो।
बड़ी मुश्किल से उनको मुक्ति मिली है।
आई थिंक सब अनम्यूट है क्या मेरा? बाय।
क्या?
मैंने करे सबको अनम्यूट।
अच्छा, हाँ अनम्यूट तो मैंने भी करा इधर से, बट कोई बोल नहीं रहा तो मुझे लगा है भी कि नहीं वहाँ।
उमेश सर को भी मैंने ही किया।
हाँ, नहीं इधर
स्टूडेंट अपने आप को अनम्यूट नहीं कर सकते थे, सेशन में सेटिंग कर दी थी पहले।
हाँ, अनम्यूट नहीं कर सकते थे। आपने सबको म्यूट कर दिया और उसमें अलाउ पार्टिसिपेंट टू अनम्यूट देमसेल्फ को अनचेक कर दिया शायद, तो फिर कुछ बचा ही नहीं।
सिक्योरिटी के हम ही है सर।
पूरा कंट्रोल सेशन चलाया देवेंद्र सर ने। लेकिन मेरे को ये समझ में नहीं आ रहा, ये जो स्टूडेंट्स हैं, शुभम आर यू देयर? प्रज्वल? अच्छा, तुम लोग कुछ बोल नहीं रहे हो, इसलिए मुझे लगा हो भी कि नहीं हो एक्चुअली। मैंने अनम्यूट कर दिया तो भी कुछ नहीं। है?
सब लिसनिंग कर रहे थे।
बाय डिफॉल्ट इनके इसमें म्यूटनेस आने लगी है, नहीं बोलेंगे तो कोई नहीं, बाय।
अभी क्या है कि बच्चे
अच्छा था सेशन, प्रज्वल परीक्षित था।
हम सेशन वाज गुड, मतलब थोड़ा सा आइडिया मिल गया कि क्या काम चल रहा है, तो अब हमें पता है कि हम कहाँ लाए करते, तो हमें कितना पढ़ना है या क्या कितना आगे बढ़ना है, कैसे क्या करना है,
या फिर हम जो कर रहे हैं वो अभी सही डायरेक्शन है।
हाँ वो तो है ही, अपन मतलब जो वी आर गोइंग स्टेप बाय स्टेप ना, तो बस वो है कि डेटा साइंस के लिए मशीन लर्निंग और एक स्टैट्स पढ़ना पड़ेगा वापस। ओके मैम,
देखो इसलिए पकड़ो इनको, ये बैठे हाँ, अगले सेमेस्टर में इनको बोलो एडवांस्ड स्टैटिस्टिक्स।
आपकी आवाज जा रही है मैम, आवाज साफ नहीं आ रही।
एडवांस तो पढ़ा चुके
क्या?
नहीं, मैं बोल रही हूँ आप एडवांस तो पढ़ा चुके, अब इनको एडवांस्ड स्टैटिस्टिक्स पढ़ाओ।
अब है ना इनका
एडवांस्ड स्क्वायर स्टैटिस्टिक्स
नहीं, एक बार बनाएंगे स्टैटिस्टिक्स फॉर मशीन लर्निंग के लिए बनाएंगे। क्या चल रहा है? स्टैट्स फॉर मशीन लर्निंग ना, एडवांस ना, बेसिक वाला मशीन लर्निंग सुनती है। स्टैट्स फॉर यही है एमएल, दैट्स इट।
एंड कर दूं मैडम मीटिंग सबके लिए?
चलो मैं एंड करिए मीटिंग।
हां, बच्चे भी सुन रहे हैं, आप लोग कितना बोल रहे हो।
बाय
बाय बाय बाय
बाय।